Good evening, my friends out there. No more heroin. How you guys doing tonight? As I wait here, try to get the viewing up, huh? Ready to pop in. What's up, Johnny? Just try to put some theme music on or something, right? Get the Rocky music started. Dun, 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 dun. I'm trying to fill up that time. What's up, Leslie? How are you tonight? Oh, long day. Long day. How about Tim Bird? How about your new coach, brother? You know what I mean? Lucky you got rid of big. I got a real Big Ben playing for my Sixers. Like Ben McAdoo, huh? He told me to try to let it build a little bit of an audience, but I'm going to start a little early anyway. So most of the backstory is what it is. And I know. No, Paula knows most of it. Some of it, Johnny, for you. I know you know most of it as well. My story, unlike a lot of other ones, sounds like I came from a great family. Awesome. Grew up in a nice house. You know what I mean? They sent me to Catholic school. I have really cool relatives. The determining factor in me becoming an addict and getting into this recovery business and including working on myself and being in recovery all started probably for me back in grade school when I first really realized I didn't feel like I felt it. I didn't feel like I fit in. I tried to do whatever I could, be the laughing stock, kind of work with whatever I had been given. I was tall, I was skinny, you know what I mean? Not exactly the looks, all the other stuff that other kids so I thought I wanted to have and wanted to be like. Mom and dad didn't know what to do with me. I was a behavior problem all the way through school, starting in first grade, starting in kindergarten, all those other things. And I do know that life for me wasn't as easy as I wanted it to be. My family always supported me. I was labeled as ADD. In 4th and 5th grade, I went over to Children's Hospital. They ran all the tests, all the psych things. They put me on medicine. It only made me feel worse, made me feel less, you know what I mean? It made me feel like I didn't fit in again. I also really started to isolate. I was part of sports teams. Some of those sports teams, my father stopped coaching, so all of a sudden the politics of sports got involved, and I was doing really well, but I wasn't the kid that was making it, so I started to run my mouth, and that started to really get me in trouble as well. Progression into high school, I went to an all-boys high school freshman year, tried to play sports, but it was all boys, and again, I didn't feel like I fit in, so I transferred, and that's where this story actually begins. I transferred from one high school to another Catholic school. And to fit in right away, I started to smoke weed, but I also understood I could hang out with the older kids if I sold drugs. And I found that really fast, and that fast-paced lifestyle and money and all the good stuff that came along with that. So I thought would make me a better person and would let me fit in and make my transition a lot easier. That it did. But I alienated myself from the guys and friends that were around me trying to tell me, yo, you probably don't want to go that direction. I really didn't care. I just wanted friends and wanted to be able to enjoy my life as I saw it. I also know that at this time, life was starting to, I had already lost a few relatives, great aunts and uncles that meant a whole lot to me. I was a caretaker, so I knew I had some responsibilities at home that not everybody else had. So even to do some of those things, not exactly against my own will, but I didn't like to do it. I did it because the family called on me. I'll get back to that a little bit later in the story, but by my end of my sophomore year was when I transferred. Second week of school, I smoked weed. Third week of school, I smoked dust. And the fourth week of school, I was doing acid. And I kind of fell in love with hallucinogenics and the idea that I could do hallucinogenics and probably sell drugs and make a lot of money at the same time. I did that all the way through till my senior year. I had 2 bad trips. I ended in the ER. One of those 2 was at the very end. I was on 19 hits of acid, and they threatened to take the rights away. Thank God for my mother and father, who just believed I would come down off of drugs, and I got lucky, and I did. At the age of 20, turning 21, I had just turned 21. I went out to Las Vegas. I had done acid again for another time and started to experiment with more party drugs. Those party drugs led me into coming back home. I met a girl in July in 1999. In 1 month, I got her pregnant, and that was the change in my life. I ended up kind of having to cut short any career plans I had on being a drug dealer real quick. And the guys that I was running with saw fit to that in the framework of putting me in my own trunk, driving me up to a rest stop and letting me know that they were in charge and I needed to go away. You know what I mean? And I went away. Luckily, I had my wonderful woman at the time who really didn't even know that any of that was going on. And, you know, I figured I'd just live life, have the kid, get a house, get a car, white picket fence. The story would just continue. I didn't think I had a problem with drugs. You know what I mean? I really did. And I figured I could pick them up, put them down. I picked them up, put them down many other times. This was just going to continue and everything was going to be fine. However, after the birth of my second child and a job change, I got hurt when I was in the union. And that was my first introduction to opiates. And I realized that they were overtimers. They worked to help me relieve the pain. Obviously, I'm sure most of you guys that are joining in now know and understand how that drug works. But I didn't understand how it really worked until I didn't have it. And I did not have it for like 4 or 5 years. I had it whenever I wanted it. It was readily available. It wasn't until 2011 when I was finally in enough pain because my wife had left me with my children. I wasn't totally at my rock bottom yet, but I was close. I had sold a lot of stuff to get more. And I also really was in denial about why she left, meaning I thought that it was just all her fault. I had no part in it. You know what I mean? Woe was me. She left me for a kid that was younger than us. A whole long story that sounds like a kid that we used to babysat when we were in, you know what I mean, had first got together. And I had this whole sob story that went along with it. And I really didn't get into any kind of step work or any meetings or anything, but it was suggested to me and I was told that I had to go. I'd been arrested once up until now. And for the timeline, we're up in 2011. I had been arrested once until 2011. So this is my first, I had no treatments, no nothing. I signed myself into treatment in 2011 in January. And it was my first experience with detox to be able to get off it. Before that, it was like sub maintenance. I also understood that going to detox and going to treatment for me, my very first time it taught me how to do better drugs. I hadn't touched heroin yet. I still didn't want to touch heroin because everybody that did heroin died. I definitely didn't want any needles coming near me, diseases, all the other things that go with that. I was better than everyone else. Nah, I still didn't have a problem yet, man. I'm not like you guys. I was definitely different from. In 2013, I met a new running buddy, 2012, 2013, and had, you know what I mean? I thought I had life locked up and was ready to just take on the world because I kind of put the onus on another person who took care of me. I didn't do anything in the relationship. I just used, you know what I mean, and abused pretty much. And it was cool because she liked to party, so I would hustle. I would find a way to make money. When I had to make money, I would rob, steal, do whatever I had to do all the way up until 2015. 2015 was my first experience with jail. That was my rock bottom. I ran from a warrant. I got picked up when I was outside picking up the mail from my house and trash around the mailbox. The cop actually thought I was robbing my house. Happened to be in my camouflage bibs coming out from the woods because my hustle at that time was cutting down trees in my mom and dad's backyard and selling firewood. So again, karma came back to get me. God did with me as he saw fit. And to jail I went as I kicked in that little 12 by 12 So on the floor, and down here, what they call in Salem County Correctional Facility, a turtle soup, padded soup, where I just laid on the floor and threw up and cried and begged and pleaded and foxhole prayed it all the way for 5 days to be able to get out. And my mommy, she came and bailed me out. You know what I mean? Like mommy always did all those other times. And I figured that was it. You know what I mean? I'm done. I made all the promises. I'm never going to do it again. I was probably high by that night or the night after. Ended up back in jail a month later on running from another warrant. I had robbed my mom for probably what was the last time, after taking all her jewelry, her wedding rings and all that stuff. I had taken an insurance check, and she told me, either I can bring you in because you can voluntarily turn yourself in on the warrant that you're wanted for, or you can have this federal offense hanging over you. And I went, no, I don't even want to mess with that. I'll go. And it was crazy because I was crying, but it wasn't exactly tears of sadness. It was more tears of wow, she's finally stepping up and trying to help me. And I kind of saw a little bit more of a problem. I got out. By this time, I had already gone away to detox a couple times. It was always an oil change, though. I only went to IOP afterwards. I would go detox IOP. It was never any inpatient treatment, definitely never any meetings. I wanted nothing to do with meetings. That's where, you know what I mean? That's where I didn't want to be like you guys. I learned very, very quickly that I probably should have done that, but I didn't. The good part is today, I just so happen to be celebrating my clean date. In 2015, December 4th was a Friday. My daughter had a snowball dance, and I had received a really, really important gift from my mom, which was the gift to go away to treatment. She helped me out to get insurance to be able to send me away to a treatment facility out in Arizona. That was amazing, life-changing. I got out there on December 7th, and I can actually say I haven't looked back since, but it was very difficult in the beginning. Obviously going away, knowing I was going to go away through the Christmas time and through the seasons, it was going to be very, very tough for me to take it on and know that I wasn't going to be able to see my family. And the program was 6 months. They told me you only have to go for 30 days. Then they told me you only got to go for 90 days. And at the time, I had a felony. Well, I still have the felony, but a superior court, and I was wanted. And I ran to that plane because I figured I could run away from it. Well, the cool part was I called and told them, listen, this is where I'm at, and I need to do this first because I'm going to die, and that warrant that you have isn't going to get served anyway, and the time that you need from me isn't going to happen unless I get better. Well, I actually believed it this time. After all the other times of running, I'd finally hit that point, that low point in life to where there was no one else that was coming to save me. I realized my mommy couldn't save me, my kids, I couldn't do it for my kids. I couldn't do it for any girl. I couldn't do it for anyone but myself. I actually had to look myself in the mirror, and for my first week and a half, 2 weeks out there, I couldn't even do that. And they kind of hung with me, gave me a lot of consequences. I mean, I thought I was a hard ass. I actually thought going out there as a 37-year-old male, I was 21 again somehow, like time had gone backwards and was fitting in with those guys instead of those guys coming to my level or where I was in life. I actually thought that was the point where I was at, man. It's amazing when all of a sudden the change starts to happen. And the change started to happen because when I got out there, it was suggested to me to go get a sponsor. And I did. This amazing man from Detroit, Michigan, his name is Detroit Dave Traba. And he really couldn't take me on at the time. He had a barely 1-year-old kid. He had a new wife. He had a new home out in Arizona. And he had a new baby that was on the way. And not to mention, he was doing Heroin treatments. It's amazing how he stepped up in my life to make me feel comfortable and welcome. And the gentleman was close to my age. So he had a lot of what I was looking for in life. He had stature. He had worked his ass off to get to where he was, but he shared a story that was similar to mine and where he came from and what he did to get there and all the bad stuff. The step work in my life changed everything. I didn't believe in anything. I didn't believe in any. I believed in God, but I didn't believe in any discipline. I believe I could leverage God all the way till he would finally come back and I would get that last opportunity and be done. I learned that wasn't the truth. I learned through that process. I was broken down, and he taught me. He taught me how to look inward and find that divine within. And all the while, I always had it. I just had to look for it. It's amazing what happens when you stop and you think. There was a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation that was introduced to me, that was shown to me in a different light. A little different than the Catholic upbringing that I had before in the Christian faith, but still the same. It was just a new way of opening my mind and opening my eyes to see what my heart couldn't see before. And the amazing part of this whole journey was my family never gave up on me. me. My friends never gave up on me. None of this is possible without all those people that kept me in their prayers, kept me in their hearts, and picked me back up every time that I fell all the way along this journey, because they understood the man that I was destined to be right here, right now, before you, not the dude that I used to be. I met some amazing people along the way. When I got home, I was scholarship to a training course that was put on by CCAR, and became a recovery coach. I got right into service the same way I got into service while I was out in Arizona at that treatment center, that I learned how to get into service from the meetings. So service is what keeps me locked in and grounded and in the community in some way, shape, or form. I have a lot of other friends that kind of are very, I don't want to say right wing or too Christian, because that's not the right way to say it. They have their lanes and they're staying in them. It took me 2 years to find my lane, almost 2 years to actually find my lane and stay in it. So anyone in the early recovery process, I suggest you stay where you're at and don't try to go too far outside your comfort zone until it's time. Not to say that growing comes from getting uncomfortable, but don't go too far outside your comfort zone, because I did, and I've paid for it over and over and over again without using, and have paid dearly. Lost friends, lost jobs, in sobriety. And I also understand that there's so many other people out here that don't really get a chance to do any of the stuff that I'm doing. I'm on this Facebook Live page now, talking to other people that are around. It's amazing how all this cool stuff just happens in my life. There's so many amazing people out there if you just reach out if you need to. If you're really struggling right now, that's the most important part of my recovery. I didn't know how to reach out. I had too much pride. I had too much shame. It kept me locked in locked in moments of despair that all I had to do was speak up, and I wouldn't even raise my hand and wouldn't say anything to anyone that was trying to help me. You could actually ask me, are you okay? And of course I would say, yep, no problem. I'm doing great. Same smile on my face, and you would believe it, because I was such a good liar and I was such a good manipulator. But because I was broken down and willing to listen at the time of my most desperate hour, I got it. I got that final call. And there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that aren't heeding the warnings and going back out after they get a little clean time because they think they can use again. They think they can do this again. There's so many programs and so many people out there willing to help that are just like myself and the other beautiful people, some of them that are on here right now watching. What we do is so necessary, but yet we take it for granted. You know what I mean? We get to help other people, and it helps our recovery. There's so many other people that do what we do, and they just use people and abuse people. I love each and every one of you for hanging in. Again, I can't say it enough. Today is my 2-year anniversary. So to get the blessing to be able to do this on my 2-year anniversary, how amazing is that? This wasn't planned to go that way. It wasn't planned to go that way. Robin Higginbottom asked me to do this a month ago. And he just popped the date up, and I didn't tell him until I saw him in Florida a week and a half ago. I said, yo, you know when you told me to come on? Just so happened to be on the 4th. And it was crazy. It's life is so good right now, but it wasn't. And I get to reflect on that now. I don't have to worry about being that guy, because all that stuff that I just went through brought me to here now. And I've achieved quite a few goals this year. You know what I mean? That were on my list. I do know there's more to do. You know, I became a recovery coach. I became a peer specialist. I took an interventionist course. I've done other things. I started a foundation called Resurrect Hope, which is to try to help parents and children left behind from the deceased or those still in active addiction. Started a company called Ascension Recovery Continuum to actually facilitate some of that stuff if necessary. I work for a company also called Sober Escort, which is just that, man. It's to be able to take plane rides and car rides and get people safely from point A to point B, while my job is just to understand what they're going through, meet them where they're at, and try to turn the lights on if they're lost. There are so many different programs out there for every person if you really want it. I really wanted this. I knew I needed it a long time ago, but I really wanted it. That was the key to me getting it. The realization that I've come to in the past couple months has been the greatest asset I've achieved so far, and that's the willingness to let stuff go, to understand that other people are entitled to their opinions and other people are entitled to what they think and what they want to do and how they act and where they go, and I don't have to put myself in situations anymore. I don't have to talk to other people if I don't want to. I can choose. I have the freedom to choose today. I had no choice. I was chained to a drug before. I was chained to a substance. The vocabulary that I use in my everyday life now has changed. You know what I mean? The substance use disorder, like, that's real. I have a disease. That's real. That's what I believe. I make the choice to use, but the disease is in me, and it's ready to come out and bite at any moment. There's so many good people on this website and around the country I get to reach out to as friends today, that I can actually call friends and loved ones. And thank you very much again for hanging with me and staying with me, because I love you all. And I've learned to love myself, and that's why I can say that. It's been the hardest thing for me to do over this little last 2-month period, to sit with myself and understand, oh my goodness, I've achieved so much. God has blessed me with so many different things and so many different people. I can just sit still and praise him. That's it. And be thankful and grateful and have an attitude of success. I've only wanted to be successful this whole life. I got my son back. I got my daughter back. And in my life, they actually want to talk to me. They actually want me to come get them and pick them up. I took them to the Sixers game. I have a beautiful new woman in my life, and she has 2 children that I get to call my family as well. It's amazing what can happen when you just put in a little work. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't hungry enough the first couple times. I really wasn't. I also know that there's some real tension in my life as well. That it's not going that great in a couple areas. But that's okay, because life is about the ups and downs and how we take them. So I try not to get too high when the highs come in. I try not to get too low. If it just so happens to where I get a little upset, I'm going to be anxietal sometimes. I'm going to be depressed sometimes. Friends are going to die. Today, while I was in a meeting this morning, one of my close friends from when I was a child died. Guy that I played baseball with for 4 years. 4 years. It's amazing as an adolescent. God can take you at any time. I'm not ready yet, but if he sees fit, I guess I am. That's the way I look at life today. I'm okay. I've been blessed with so many different things that I'm okay with Donnie. And for me, I just do the next right thing. It's that easy. It's that easy. And doing drugs to do the next right thing isn't part of it. That's what it used to be for me. Doing the drugs to be able to go do stuff. That's it. I couldn't just get up and do it myself. I needed the accelerator. There's so many fantastic ways that you can get clean. There's many pathways to this thing. You don't have to just choose one. The steps worked for me. First, God always worked for me. I just needed to understand the discipline that was given by those 12 steps. Also, what came along with it was meditation. I never understood what meditation and the value of it was. I knew about it, but other people could do it. I couldn't. My brain goes too fast. There's too many things going on in my life. I really couldn't sit quiet. I really couldn't pay attention. I couldn't relax. What's up, Callie? I couldn't relax. There is a lot of other people who understand the same things I do because they are ADD and ADHD. That's just a label. That's not who we are. I told the doctors when I was a kid, ADD spells add, so I must have something good. He told me no. I said, no, attention deficit disorder? You must be at the deficit, not me. My life has changed because of that outside the box way of thinking. I didn't know it as a child, but now as an adult, no one can tell me otherwise. And I get to live as a man of integrity today and prove it on an everyday basis. The people that I help understand that. The people that see me on a daily basis understand that. Anyone else with their opinions of you, they don't matter. I'm learning to let go. That's the process that I'm in right now. I'm processing my second 6 step and really, really understanding what these character defects are. And again, I do the 12 steps, but that's only part of what I do. A whole lot of prayer, a whole lot of meditation. There's so many crazy, crazy, crazy ways to get a better day. That's all I'm looking for, is a tomorrow that was just as good as today. And when I lay my head on the pillow, I'll be grateful, remain humble, and happy. I have a good life. God's blessed me with a ton of stuff. I just told you guys this, including the family that I've always wanted. The family that I've always wanted. I hear them running around upstairs. That's why I got distracted, just so you guys understand. I'm in my basement trying to do this, and I can hear the running around of the 6-year-old, 10-year-old, and Pauline. You never know what's going on up there. You know what I mean? I'm kind of happy to be down here right now. I'm proud to be on here. I never was able to actually say that about myself or my life or where I come from before. You know what I mean? I'm here on the East Coast. We catch a lot of flack for how fast-paced we are and how much we talk and how charismatic we carry ourselves. There's something to be said for the pride that we all take in what we do, the blue-collar aspect of what we do. Again, 2 years. 2 years is such a long time. I never realized it, and the ride's going by like that. There are a lot of really, really good foundations and a lot of really good places that can help. If anyone's in need of help, again, this is a wonderful webpage ran by the likes of a very, very close, near and dear friend and brother of mine, Robin Higginbottom, who's amazing work out there trying to help people. And I do a ton of service work myself. I get out there and I try as hard as I can to help whoever is asking for it. And I'm not financially paid for it. It's amazing how that works. My job is working as a sober escort for a different company. You know what I mean? So if you need help and you need to reach out, go to someone on this website. They'll take care of you. If not, go to my page. Like I said, it's Resurrect Hope. It's a group page. You just get on there and chat just like this. It's just another way. Just another link for an ear waiting out there to listen to you. That's it. That's all we are, man. That's the way all this gets done. I thank you guys for hanging in with me. I'm sure I'll do more of these things, you know what I mean, as it goes on. And again, I'm so blessed to achieve the 2 years. I love you guys. You guys have a fantastic night. Thank you very much.